Memory, draw your face to the moonlight. Let your memory lead you. Open up and enter in. If you find there the meaning of what happiness is, then the new life will begin. Midnight, not a sound from the pavement. Has the moon lost her memory? She is smiling alone. In the lamplight, the withered leaves collect at my feet, and a new life will begin. Memory, all alone in the moonlight, I can think of the old days. Life was beautiful then. I remember a time I knew what happiness was. Let the memory begin again. Every street lamp seems to beat a fatalistic warning. Someone mutters and the street lamp stutters, and soon it will be dawning. Daylight, I must wait for the sunrise. I must think of a new life, and I mustn't give in. When the dawn comes, tonight will be a memory too, and a new day will begin. Burned out ends of smoke
I'm delighted to welcome you all this morning, whether you are here at UUCS or joining us virtually. This is a welcoming congregation where everyone is welcome, just as we each are. If you are visiting this morning, we would love to meet you and share more about the life of this congregation. Visitor cards are found in the pocket in the back of the chair in front of you, and we welcome you to fill one out and place it in the offertory as it comes by so that we can connect with you. My name is Mel Fritchie, and I serve as president of the Board of Trustees of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spartanburg. Unfortunately, I awkwardly have signed up for 2 volunteer jobs this morning. Right now, I am wearing my board hat, and in just a few moments, I will be wearing my worship associate hat. I serve this congregation to connect. I work, some of you know, in the field of addiction medicine. And when I first started working in that field, someone said to me, the opposite of addiction is connection. I come to this church to connect, to prevent addiction, my own mental illness, to prevent despair, to prevent isolation, to prevent suffering. And I serve because I need this place to be here for me, for my family, for my friends, and for you. If you would like to wear multiple hats, you can do that too. And I apologize if you are tired of me by the end of the service. Let me reassure you that I will not, as they say, be back next week. But if you would like to try on another hat, like my new friend Ryan, who just signed the membership book, who would like to try on another hat? There are hats available for ushers, greeters, and the hospitality team. Please see my friend Jamie, my friend Deb. There are hats available for you to wear, and I encourage you to be as courageous as my new friend Ryan and accept a hat. There are many important announcements in the sheets titled, "Oh my goodness, Connect," at the back of your bulletin this morning. Please open your bulletin to see all that you can be a part of. This one is really important to us. Freedom to Read, a grassroots local group advocating for libraries and access to books. We would like to encourage everyone who would like to come to the District 1 school board meeting this Monday night, that's tomorrow, October 9th, to support the freedom to read books that reflect our diversity and factual recounting of history. This is another important announcement. Sign up to help with Pride on Saturday, October 28th. We need people in rainbow-colored hats, I'm just kidding, I made that up, to help with baking cookies before the event, hosting a booth during the event, and we want everyone to join the march at noon on October 28th. Please see the happenings for a link to sign up. Are you considering joining the congregation at UUCS? I mean, who would not after all of this? The next Path to Membership class is in place to learn more about Unitarian Universalism and our congregation. The next class will be held Sunday, November 5th, starting at 12:30. It will be held in Wild Hall, lunch will be served, childcare is available, and a sign-up sheet is on the whiteboard on the foyer outside the sanctuary. And if you have any questions, you talk to my friend, my very difficult to see friend, Deb. This is another important announcement. Oh my goodness, our annual auction is coming up November 11th. Click on the link in the happenings to submit items that you would like to share and plan now to come. Please understand that this auction is organized by mothers who have other things to do. They need your help in getting organized early, ahead of time. There are links, click on them, sign up. If you don't like signing up on links, those mothers are sitting out in the fellowship hall after the service all month, and you can just go up to them and they will sign you up themselves. Help them, help us, help you, help everyone have a wonderful auction. Thank you all for making this a place of care and kindness for each one of us. Thank you for making this a place of joy. We light our chalice with a reading from the book of Job. There was once a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. That man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. One day, the heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser also came among them. The Lord said to the accuser, "Where have you come from?" The accuser answered the Lord, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." The Lord said to the accuser, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil." Then the accuser answered the Lord, "Skin for skin. All that the man has will give for his life. But stretch out your hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse you to your face." The Lord said to the accuser, "Very well, he is in your power." Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all these troubles that have come upon him, each of them set out for his home. They met together to go and console and comfort him. When they saw him from a distance, they did not recognize him, and they raised their voices and wept aloud. They tore their robes and threw dust in the air upon their heads. They sat with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his suffering was very great.
Please join me in hymn number 18, What Wondrous Love.
What
Now, when Job's friends heard of all the troubles that have come upon him, each of them set out from his home. They met together to go and console and comfort him. We share a ritual each week of the Rippling Bowl, where we come together to connect as a community, to share that weighs heavy on our hearts, or to share that is bringing us joy and lifting us up out of the unjust suffering of this world. I would ask you now, as you are able and desirous, to come forward and place a stone or a shell in the Rippling Bowl, symbolizing the connection of care that this community shares. This congregation full of dreamers and idealists has written a covenant, a promise of how we attempt to be together in relation with ourselves, with one another, and with the world. Please join me in saying the words of our covenant together. We are a people of faith and hope. Together we covenant to strive to become our better selves, to honor both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to respond to systems of violence and oppression with the power of a love beyond belief. Speaking of connection, we set aside even more time to be together. We are going to take some time to greet one another in whatever manner is most comfortable to you. If you would like a hug, come on up here and get one. If you would like to sit in your seat and quietly reflect with your head down, do that. Take some time to greet one another, and Aaron is going to attempt to get us back to our seats. These naughty people that don't go back to their seats. Oh, that's nice. We're going to start calling out names, shaming names. Thank you for making this a place of joy when we all need it. It is my pleasure to introduce to you my good friend Ruth Stanton, a fellow worship associate, but more importantly, a midwife who has worked with our Share the Plate recipients in Haiti. And she's going to tell us just a little bit about that organization. And she actually delivered my baby.
Who was a beautiful baby and is a beautiful young person now. So Midwives for Haiti it's my pleasure to talk about them, having had the opportunity to work with them personally. It was founded in 2006 after a nurse midwife, Nadine Brunk, visited Haiti and saw the stark reality there. When I was like, Job, yeah, the suffering of Job and some of what goes on in Haiti are right in the same book. Haiti had at that time and still has the highest maternal and infant mortality rate in our hemisphere. So one example of the cracks in the maternity care system is that the maternity hospital where Midwives for Haiti was started in this town of Inch in the Central Plateau, at that time was staffed by one obstetrician and one nurse, and the ward closed at night. And if you chose to go to the hospital at night because your baby was coming, your baby might be delivered by the cleaning lady or by nobody. So in response to this dire need, an educational program for trained birth attendants was started. At first, it was a one-year program for nurses and taught by a mix of foreign and Haitian instructors. It has grown into an 18-month-long program taught by Haitian instructors entirely that can meet the requirements for the World Health Organization training of midwives. And the program is currently under review by the Health Ministry for accreditation, which is a huge step in recognizing this new credential because there wasn't this type of healthcare provider in Haiti before. So that sounds wonderful and great, and it is wonderful and great, but the greater impact that this organization has had in the whole country of Haiti, there's about 400 OBGYN doctors and 200 nurse midwives. That's 600 people that know how to deliver babies. But this program has trained 204 additional people so far, and they are 25% of the practicing maternity care providers in the country of Haiti. And this is just one small place. And now that hospital, St. Therese, that had only one cleaning lady at night, now has 18 full-time trained birth attendants, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. And the maternal and infant mortality rate at that hospital in that area has dropped dramatically. So I've been to Haiti 3 times, first time in 2011 after the earthquake, and each time I was supported by this church. Every time we sent over $1,000 of life-saving medical supplies, and we've also supported the organization in between those times with Share the Plates on at least 2 other occasions. When I was there, I got to work with students in the hospital and also visit the remote village of Femme Braun as part of their regular mobile clinic, prenatal care clinic outreach. They would go different clinics different days of the week and hit like 20 clinics a month. So Femme Braun was the one that I got to see actually twice. And there we cared for women who may have walked several hours to get to their prenatal visits. They'd start walking early. The clinic would start at about 10. It went on till about 4, and we just kept seeing people so they didn't show up anymore. The first time, 40 women approximately came in for their checkups. 4 years later, it was 100 women. The reputation had gotten out, and the women started to realize that they needed prenatal care to be healthy. So Midwives for Haiti currently has kept plugging along, even though there's been civil unrest. I know you've heard about it on TV and such, and kidnappings, and Americans getting kidnapped, and Haitians getting kidnapped. Inflation has been a big problem, so it has not been easy. But in addition to continuing their work in Inch and the mobile clinics, they have built a birth center in the village of Femme Braun on land that was donated by that community because that community saw a need. So there's this, I wish we had like a big screen with the picture. There's this bright pastel pink birth center there now. It has solar panels on the roof so that they have lights at night because there's no electricity in this community. They share their electric charging abilities with folks in the community so they can get their phones charged. And they even have a septic system. It's exciting. Continuing our generous support to this organization is one way to empower the Haitian people to grow their own maternity health care system so they can keep improving health outcomes for mothers and babies. And I hope you'll be generous, and I know you'll be generous with this Share the Plate. Thank you.
When you try your best, but you don't succeed. When you get what you want, but not what you need. When you feel so tired, but you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse. And the tears come streaming down your face. When you lose something you can't replace. When you love someone but it goes to waste. Could it be worse? Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. High up above or down below. When you're too in love to let it go. But if you never try, you'll never know just what you're worth. Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. Tears stream down your face when you lose something you cannot replace. Tears stream down your face, and tears stream down your face. I promise you I will learn from my mistakes. Tears stream down your face, and lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.
Join me in silence. That song is beautiful, and Aaron sings it better than I ever will. But I think it stumbles when it says it'll fix you. Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to be with you. After the service last week, someone said, "Now, you gave a middle finger to something, and I wasn't quite sure what that was." This is a job hazard, but I think I want to be really clear what that was about. Mary Underwood has asked that this month we work with a series of meditations on the book of Job. And the book of Job wrestles without answers with the question of unjust suffering. This is very difficult for all kinds of connected reasons. The most important is we do suffer. And even when we can trace causes of suffering, the level of suffering that we may experience, the chronic nature of suffering that we may experience, the irremediable nature of loss and grief that we may experience, is very often unjust. And how do we make a life through that? But compounding that essential human question are all kinds of pressures and obligations and duties and expectations that bear down on Job in this story. And I said in the service last week, and I'll say again every day that you would like for me to, that I will give a middle finger to those idolatries, to those lies and falsehoods that compound our suffering. In the book of Job, Job never curses God, but he lets the lies have it. And as best I can be, I'm going to be with Job. I was in Haiti, and I was there with a guy about my age. I was there as a student, out in the mountains of Haiti, looking at how communities were developing themselves, building themselves. And I was there with a young man who was a French agronomist, an amazing guy, so smart. And we were being hosted by an organization that was organizing farmers to work out of monoculture into more sustainable practices and to claim for themselves the right of clean water for their villages, to build a life on that village scale. These are our friends. And he and I got in an argument at the table of our host. Who had done worse to the Haitian people, the French or the Americans? And we're a couple of young, progressive, world-traveling revolutionaries. So it wasn't, oh, look what you French did. Oh, look what you Americans did. It was, oh my God, I can't believe what my country did. Oh my God, I can't believe what my country did. And it sort of turned into, who did worse Olympics? And our host, who's Haitian, whose life this is, whose life is really the center question of our very learned, but I'm sure very annoying debate. stopped us. And he said, "This argument is silly. You both failed us. But what we need is for you to choose to work with us now." The book of Job takes an old story, a story based in very simplistic thought, and it tears it open and inserts in the middle of it a very sophisticated philosophical poem, a dialogue and argument between friends who cannot resolve the question of human suffering. No answer is achieved, but what the book of Job will not abide is cheap answers. The first thing the book does is to tell a story about a man named Job. Now, we have heard this story perhaps throughout our lives. It's a deep part of our culture. And so it'd be really easy for us to miss what's going on here. But in the canon of Hebrew literature, the national treasury of the Hebrew and Israelite people, a man named Job doesn't fit. Job is not a common Hebrew name. It's the name of those people on the other side of the river. And Uz is not a city in Israel. Nor are Job's friends bearing names and coming from places that are in the land of Israel. They're from the neighboring Syro-Palestinian area. And so right in the middle of the book of Job is a story about the God of the Hebrews and about the plight of human suffering in the body and the life of somebody who's not you. So the first blasphemy of this book is to say, stop thinking you're better and more important than everybody else. That's not what's going on here. The idea of being the chosen people that defines the Israelite covenant with their God is not about being special. It's about being given a blessing in order to bless the world. It's about service, not specialness. And the book of Job says, in our suffering, we're not special. Everybody suffers this. The blasphemy of nationalism gets taken down in verse 1. But if, like that beautiful Coldplay song, we just absorb the beauty and don't think critically, be duped by the canon, by the tradition. This story is asking us to think critically and to challenge its assumptions. The second blasphemy in the book of Job is to take the basic religious ethical framework of ancient Israel and to say, they're gone. Bullshit. It's called a Deuteronomic ethic from the book of Deuteronomy. We can recognize it in cultures around the world. It's not exclusive to the Hebrew tradition. But basically what it says is, obey God and life will work out for you. Disobey God and all hell will break loose for you. Right? That gets translated into what's being currently preached in pulpits all over our city today. Right? Nothing about grace. Nothing about chaos. All about do good, you'll have good. Don't do good, good luck. And this is a pervasive ethic in the Bible. And it's okay if you never read the Bible, right? It's okay. It's very unusual for us to talk about it so much. It's all Mary's fault, right? You should have known when she came in with the name Mary that this was going to happen, right? But what it does matter to see is that the Bible itself is calling bullshit on the Bible. The book of Job is looking at the previous books and saying, you guys did not get this right. We got to rework this. Nationalism? No. We've got to be concerned about the human condition. Cause and effect ethics? Be good, you get good. Be bad, you get bad. No, that's not life. That's not life. And the third blasphemy, the one that brings some comic relief to this book, if we can allow it, is the idea of a God that would impose that on human beings. And so in this book, the God who would let all this just happen to people looks like a weak clown sitting on a throne. This is like the worst monarch in the world who can't even manage their own kingdom and doesn't really care about their subjects. Should we do a little experimenting on those human beings? Why, sure. Why not? Well, let's just do that, right? This is a false image of whatever God is, if there is a God. And the book of Job is very willing to push us to the breaking point of asking, is there even a God? In the Bible. That's where the book takes us. And it doesn't come up with a good answer. But what it definitely does is to take that image of a selfish, self-important, uncaring God and just smash it. To say, this is ridiculous. If that's who God is, you'll never hear me cuss God, but that idea of God all day long. With Job. As if that is the power in the universe, we're going to do better to get along without it. Next week, we're going to deal with these questions of theodicy, of God or not God, and all of this. But what I want you to hear me saying again is, when we take that question seriously and explode those false ideologies, whether we wind up believing in a God or not, we bring bearing wisdom. We come bearing wisdom. And that dialogue is healing for human beings. And that's why in this place we permit all of that. We welcome it. Because when we take human life seriously, whatever our theologies are, they bring us wisdom. The fourth blasphemy in this book is by far the most scalding, way more than any ideas about God. Because when our ideas of God fail us, as we well know from our own thinking, and this is a direct challenge to us too, let's just be frank about it. We've at least still got each other. We've got our human lives that we can share with each other, and our human ethics we can share with each other. So God or not God, failed God or whatever, we can still be with each other. And you hear me say this all the time. This is my life. If there is a God, and that God promises to be with us, then that's what we can be like. And if there's not a God, then we've got to do it ourselves. We give that to each other. But what the book of Job shows us is that when divinity has failed and a person is overwhelmed with unjust suffering, friends come to accompany them, to sit in mourning and ritual grief for 7 days in adherence with practices of grief in the tradition and in real love and solidarity with the sufferer. Until they get frustrated with their friend and start to tell him off. The hardest teaching of the book of Job is that friends fail us. This is the idolatry that I find most painful, that makes me flinch the most. What do we do when the people we counted on, when we really needed them, let us down? And just as bad, what do we do when we are the friend, we are the friend. We mean it. We are the friend who let our friend down. That is the grief at the heart of Job. That even human solidarity collapses. Job asks us to brazenly challenge all the idols so that we get real with what life is, not with answers, but because in our failure, we still care. And we care enough to get out of our self-righteousness and our explanations, to get over our guilt and our regret, and just dadgum care again. Before I went to Haiti, I was in Thailand. Spent a month in an AIDS hospice in northern Thailand. This was in the late 90s. AIDS treatment was not what it is today. These people had come to this hospice to be cared by the Buddhist monks who ran it, to die. And I was given care of a man, just the simplest care, to swab his opening lesions. We didn't speak the same language, and he was so weak, he could barely come out of his quarters and just lie down on the table in front of me. I'd unwrap the towel from around his waist and swab those lesions. I was a theology student. So first I tried to look at this man as a Christ figure, person suffering, but bearing divinity in their body. And still he flinched under my every touch. So then I tried to look at him as the Buddha and to see his Buddha nature. That in that tradition, all of us will find liberation from suffering at some point. And he was marking his way to ultimate freedom. But I could see his bones through his skin. And finally, what I saw his body language ask of me was set all of those ideas aside. They had gotten me there. They had value. But they could not make me present with him the way that I just needed to be present. To set aside all of that beautiful, learned thinking, all of those metaphors and poems, all those images, to just see him as a man, to be with him as a man. The book of Job, we're told Job is righteous and patient. But in the heart of the story, he is screaming, calling out the injustice he has suffered at the hands of God and the world and his own damn friends. In the best of our humanist traditions, what that poem is saying is, Ecce homo, see the man. Behold the man in his righteous outrage. And be there with him. I listened to a doctor talk about the patients they felt they had not been able to help as much as they wanted to help. I listened to a social worker speak about the kids they couldn't help as much as they wanted to help. I listened to a friend talk about the friend they tried to fix and they couldn't fix. They couldn't find the answers until they put the answers aside and just chose to be there with their friend again. The question that the book of Job asks, smashing all the idolatries, every fucking one. No matter your failure, will you choose to just be there again?
Please join me in hymn number 34 in the gray hymnal.
From the book of Job. Surely one does not turn against the needy when in disaster they cry for help. Did I not weep for those whose day was hard? Was not my soul grieved for the poor? But when I looked for good, evil came. And when I waited for light, darkness came. The inward parts are in turmoil and are never still. Days of affliction come to meet me. I go about in sunless gloom. I stand up in the assembly and cry for help. I am a brother of jackals. My skin falls from me and my bones burn with heat. My lyre is turned to mourning, and my pipe is the voice of those who weep.
Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try and try and try try. Try again.